Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the entire Kuti organization for having me. I'm really excited to be here and be part of this special technology ecosystem. Today, I'm going to speak about the importance of expanding Uruguay's technology sector from software labor to software products. I'll start by giving some background on myself. We'll define what is a labor-based software business and how it compares to a product-based software business. Then, we'll analyze what the significance is of this and what it means for the Uruguayan economy and the technology ecosystem here. We'll cover 5 methods on how Uruguay can launch more software products, discuss some objections, and end with case studies and a collective goal for everyone here. So let me introduce myself. My name is Abe Story. I'm a partner at JARS Capital, an investment firm that incubates and invests in new software products. And I'm the founder and CEO of Entry, one of JARS Capital's incubated companies. My journey to Montevideo started many years ago. My first exposure to the software agency world was at a company called Chibo. Chibo is a San Francisco-based branding and software agency. I later had the opportunity to work at Rootstrap. This was my first introduction to the tech ecosystem here in Uruguay. I was blown away by the talent, the culture, and passion from the people I worked with. So when I eventually started my own advertising technology company, Rhombus, it was a no-brainer for me to work with the talented people I had met in Uruguay. I contracted with Element 14 and Hello Hello to bring Rhombus to life. Eventually, I sold Rhombus to Cargo, one of the largest advertising technology companies in the United States. Today, the Rhombus product, which again was built with the help of Montevideo-based companies Hello Hello and Element 14, generates over $10 million in ad revenue and is used by some of the largest advertisers in the world. One of Rhombus's early investors invited me to join JARS Capital. JARS provides a platform of capital, sales, engineering, and back office resources to build and scale companies sustainably. We invest in and we incubate software product companies. And with their support, I founded Entry. Entry is a software solution that makes it effortless for users to configure DNS. We integrate and partner with Cloudflare, GoDaddy, Google Domains, and almost 30 other DNS providers to make the setup process instantaneous. So you never have to get stuck setting up a CNAME, SPF, or any other DNS record. And again, when getting Entry off the ground, I partnered with Uruguayan firms such as Quiloc, Element 14, and Hello Hello. Through these experiences, I've spent time building software, product businesses, as well as operating software agencies. So with that being said, let's define better a labor-based software business versus a product-based software business. So, what is a labor-based software business? If you're selling your time or an employee's time, you run a labor-based software business. That might manifest itself into a software product, a user interface, or something that looks like a product. But you're not selling that product. You're selling your team's time. It's the same as a law firm, accounting firm, doctor's office. Some words that are often used to describe these businesses are software factory, consultancy, agency, staff augmentation, IT partner, development shop, and so on. So what does it look like when you have a labor-based software business? It's a low barrier to entry and minimal startup costs. Your revenue tends to be project or hourly based. And because of that, business can be subject to revenue swings, We've all had those big whale clients that come in, they keep the business going, and then next thing you know, they're gone. Revenue tends to scale with your headcount. This at times can lead to talent acquisition and employee retention issues. And generally speaking, your gross profit margins are less than 50%. And you run the risk as well of disintermediation. Perhaps you have a client that wants to work directly with one of your staff members. You've limited pricing power, and at times can have account collection issues. On the other end, we have a product-based software business. Product-based software businesses can come in many shapes and sizes, but they all have one thing in common. A software product is built once, sold and used millions of times, and then improved upon. They're really hard to start. They require a sophisticated understanding of who your customer is, how to acquire them, and how to keep them engaged. This could come in the form of a software as a service company or a SaaS company, an infrastructure as a service company. For example, MonkeyLearn, an Uruguayan company, is infrastructure as a service for AI. There are software tools, software suites, B2B SaaS, bottom-up SaaS, consumer subscription software. For example, in the US, our tax system's so flawed, we have to issue software to help everyone with it. That's TurboTax. And the anatomy of product-based software businesses looks very different than labor-based software businesses. You tend to have reoccurring revenue. Your key business metrics are generally MRR, so monthly reoccurring revenue, ARR, annual reoccurring revenue, net dollar retention, churn rate, which is how many customers you've lost, and sometimes it's also ARPU or ARPU, which is that annual or average revenue per user. Revenue does not correlate with your headcount. You don't require as many staff members, and your gross profit margins are on average greater than 80%. That being said, you have higher upfront costs, and distribution and marketing can be really complex. In the past 10 years, we've seen building software become easier and easier, but it's made distribution much harder. So let's look at a few software labor and software product businesses. On the left, you have Accenture. In 2021, Accenture generated $50 billion in 2021 revenue. They're a large professional service company with a huge segment focused on software. Their market cap in October 22 was about $180 billion. So that's a revenue multiple of 3.5x. In other words, for every dollar brought in, their market cap is worth about 3.5x that dollar. The revenue per employee is almost $70,000, and their average growth rate from 2015 to 2019, so about 5 years, was 7%. On the other hand, you have Adobe. Excuse me. Adobe generated $15 billion in 2021 revenue, and their market cap in October 2022 was $142 billion. That's almost a 10x revenue multiple. So again, that means every dollar in revenue for Adobe is worth 10x. That's basically 3x what a dollar in revenue is for Accenture. Their revenue per employee is over $1 million, and their average growth rate from 2015 to 2019 is 21%. The trend continues with a service or a software labor business like WPP that generated $14 billion in revenue, and their market cap was $9.6 billion. In this case, that's a revenue multiple of 0.67. Compare that to Atlassian, which generated $2 billion in 2022 revenue, and their market cap is $31 billion. Again, just a final example here. Figma, their fiscal year 2022 revenue, $400 million. They were recently acquired by Adobe for $20 billion. The estimated revenue per employee, about $363,000, compared to Cognizant, where it's roughly $50,000. The takeaway, it's far more valuable to build the tools that power digital transformation instead of offering digital transformation services that use those tools. Now look, that's not to say software agencies are bad. In fact, they're an incredible breeding ground for great software product businesses. Let me give you an example. About 20 years ago, Ben Chestnut and Dan Kurzius, they started a web design agency called the Rocket Science Group. Their focus was on big corporate clients, but many of their customers were having trouble with email marketing. So on the side, they created a delightful product to help with email marketing. Today, that email marketing tool is known as MailChimp. And in 2021, it was acquired for $12 billion. Similarly, Fog Creek Software started, another software agency, started doing regular Creek Weeks. These were internal explorations for new products they could build, based on the problems they were having. They built a prototype to help solve planning issues. It was called Trellis. Today, Trellis goes by the name of Trello. And it was acquired for $425 million in 2017. So, overall, software product businesses have a greater average salary per employee, larger market caps and greater revenue multiples, and faster growth rates. This means the more product-based software businesses, the greater the GDP per capita of Uruguay. And this is not just good for the economy. It's good for founders, early team members, or anyone with ownership in the business. So just to drive this point home, on average, $100 in annual revenue for a software agency is worth roughly $150 in enterprise value. That's just a fancy way of saying the worth of the business. And this is based on a Barney Investment Bank. They're a well-known investment bank that specializes in buying and selling digital agencies. And even though the market's changed a lot recently, even with that correction, on average, $100 in annual revenue for a SaaS company is worth about $700 in enterprise value. Building great software products, as we all know, is hard. But knowing what to build and how to monetize it, that's even harder. And that's why that revenue is worth more. Excuse me. So how can Uruguay expand from software labor to software products? Here are 5 strategies that we're going to discuss that I believe can lead to more software product businesses here in Uruguay. 1, leverage the incredible insight, talent, and profits that agencies generate today. Use this to gain exposure to problems that your clients are facing. Sacrifice your margins in exchange for equity from talented founders. Look, don't lose money. You need to put food on the table. But you have a really unique ability to become a VC without actually risking capital. That's special. Take advantage of that. And dedicate 10% of your team's time every week to experimenting with new product ideas. You might have the next MailChimp or Trello. What I wouldn't do is try to over-productize your agency's offerings. I've seen this attempted a lot. It tends to fail. Again, what you're providing is time, not a product. If you're thinking about a new product idea, it can be tempting to write code right away and try to build your idea immediately. Resist this urge. Instead, talk to your prospective customers first. Reach out to them cold and ask for advice on what you're considering building. People want to be part of building something. And if you ask for their advice instead of trying to sell them, they'll let their guard down. They'll give you help and input. In other words, ask for money, get advice. Ask for advice, get money. Here you can see an email I sent when I first had the idea for Entry. All we had was an idea and some basic wireframes. We reached out to potential customers before ever writing a line of code. It let us better understand who our customers were, what problem we were solving, and build a customer pipeline all in the process. Formalized sales, marketing, and business model education is rocket fuel for an effective startup ecosystem. Whether it's an event like this, Zoom lectures, office hours, these are great resources for the technology community here. I have some favorite books: The 4 Steps to the Epiphany by Steve Blank, The Hard Things About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz, and Traction by Gabriel Weinberg. If you have any issue accessing these, please find me after. I'm happy to buy you a copy and share them with you. Embrace and learn from failures. The failure rate of new software products is alarmingly high, especially when compared to labor-based software businesses. That's okay, as long as you fail fast and learn from it. Failures need to be embraced, they need to be encouraged and supported, and that's what a healthy startup ecosystem feels like. And last but not least, build for the world, not just LATAM. Emphasize customer personas over regions. Think about building a CRM for car dealerships instead of a CRM for LATAM. A great example of this, Lithuania, which has about 3 million people. It's roughly the same size as Uruguay. And one of the most active investors in Lithuania, Ryan Gilbert, said entrepreneurs that I meet here do not build their products for Lithuania, but they build for the world. So in around 2015, the Ministry of Economy and Innovation set a goal to raise the number of software startups based there, from several hundred at the time to over 1,000. Look at the impact it has had on GDP per capita in that period of time. On the other hand, India, for many years, has solely focused on service-based businesses. That was great for a long time, but many companies left India instead for the Philippines and other nearby regions where the costs were even cheaper. To quote a commentator from the Hindu Business Line, while the last 2 decades saw the Indian IT industry grow into a $100 billion industry, the sector missed out on developing great software products and an opportunity to differentiate in the face of global competition. There's a lot of really reasonable objections to what I'm putting out there, and I want to discuss a few of them. First, hey Abe, I get what you're saying. Build more products. But there's not enough VC money in Uruguay to finance software product companies. First, let me use this as an opportunity to say, JARS Capital would love to hear your pitches for new ventures. Send me an email. We want to be active in this community here. And while there may not be yet enough VC money to achieve multiple hyperscale $10, $20 billion outcomes, that doesn't mean you can't build a healthy SaaS business that supports a small team. And again, agencies, use your free cash flow to invest in new software products. Secondly, hey Abe, I get what you're saying, but there isn't an active M&A market for product-based companies to find buyers here in Uruguay. If you told me that 3 years ago, I'd say, yeah, you're right. But in a post-pandemic world, there's less concern than ever about where companies are located. And if you build great products with strong business fundamentals, there will always be an interested buyer. And lastly, you might say, hey, the market's saturated. Every good idea is taken. Well, first of all, ideas are worthless and execution is priceless. And not every software idea needs to be unique. Make a software that's 10 times better than the alternatives. Think about something you use every day, a Postman, a Jira. Think about what you don't like about it and how you can make it 10 times better. So I think our goal should be to have 50% of the revenue from Uruguay's IT sector to be generated from product-based software businesses by 2040. But it's not just about numbers or revenue. It's a mindset. For the students in this crowd who are thinking about their careers, I encourage you, dream of building a software product instead of a software agency. Thank you all for your time. I'll now open it up to Q&A, and please don't hesitate to reach out. If you're starting a software product and looking for backing, email me, abe@jarscapital.com. If you're looking to work on a challenging problem in a fast-growing software company, please email me, abe@entry.com. Thank you all.
No one wants to make a question? No? Yes, there. I saw a hand. Can you get a microphone?
So I thank you very much for the talk. So my question is, what do you think software agencies rather are holding back on this situation, trying to go for a product-based approach, and instead they try to grow as a service-based company?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think sometimes it's difficult because your bread and butter is being an agency, right? And you want to invest in that. You want to grow that side of your business, and you don't want to distract from that, which makes complete sense. And I think it depends on what stage your agency is at. If you're just getting off the ground, yeah, it's probably not a great idea to suddenly invest a ton of resources into a product. But maybe you've been around a little while. You have a healthy team, a healthy set of clients, and you want to diversify your business. That's probably a good time to do that. But I think it requires a very different mindset for both the engineers that are on your team and the managers. Instead of building for clients, you need to build for yourself.
Hi, I'm Matthias from Odorit. I'm a product-based startup, and I am asking what can we do ourselves as startup founders of products to help to change this mindset for the startup, for the software agencies. Thank you. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a few things. One, I think collaborate with them, right? Like sometimes there's this firewall in communities between the service side and the product side. I think the more you can remove that firewall and collaborate and promote each other and support each other, the more I think you remove that friction. I also think it's just chatting with your friends and colleagues that are thinking about their careers and where they want to spend their time. That could be something as simple as getting coffee and someone's asking about, should I take this job or this job? And making them think about the business they're joining and the equity value of that business. Or Mike, sorry.
Hey, great talk. I know that you stumbled upon Uruguay kind of like by strike of luck, but now that you've been here, you know the ecosystem and everything. On top of your head, what are the things that we might take for granted here from being inside the community, the industry, that you, from being kind of like between the two worlds, can tell, like, you guys don't realize you have X, Y, and Z in the IT world? Yeah,
so the first thing I'd say is just the caliber of talent is really special. I mean, I've worked with people in Europe and Asia, all over the world, and there's a reason why I'm coming back here in January and February, and it's not just for the sun, it's for the people. So I know sometimes it might feel maybe like a small insular country, but I'm really impressed by the caliber of engineering, the caliber of education. I remember first learning about the One Laptop, One Child program here. I was blown away by that, and blown away by how much this country emphasizes technology and engineering, and how well prepared as a result the young people here are for the workforce. The other thing I'd say is don't underestimate how valuable it is to be in the same time zone as the US. That's a huge, huge strategic advantage.
Thanks, great talk. Do you have examples or successful examples in situations which the client kind of shares equity in exchange for services, and is that a good idea for
I think so let me clarify on that. I think it's a really bad idea if you don't take any money. Take money, right? Collect money from your client. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I am saying is you have the opportunity as an agency to attract, to be a magnet for the best founders and operators, right? And if you can do that, you may then have an opportunity to say, hey, we'd like to cut our rate by 5%, 10%, right? Something nominal, in exchange for equity. And look, the success rate of that will be very low. It's going to be really low. It's 5, 10% if you're lucky. But think about how that's diversifying your business and diversifying your exposure to different markets. So again, to be clear, collect money from clients. In fact, collect it up front if you can. But I think a lot of agency operators hear horror stories about equity and doing those types of deals with clients, and so they just shy away from it. And they don't even put it on the table. And that's what I'm trying to advise you not to do. Be open to that and think about it through the lens of, wow, I get to effectively invest in all of my clients without actually spending any money.
Hi, great talk. Just wanted to ask which steps, so I'm an agency founder myself, we're on the AI area. I'm just thinking about which steps would you follow or advise as having a software agency in order to build a product. I know that you could just sell a product before it's done, right? But I heard from a previous talk that they said you have to have a part of your company that is dedicated specifically to product. So I wanted to know which would be your advice related. Which steps would you consider in the process of going from services to product?
Just to clarify the question, you're asking how would you advise making that transition? Could you clarify just that?
Yeah. Basically, there's a point in which the track of a product company will merge with a normal product company that starts from scratch. Or I just wanted to know which iterations would you follow in order to reach that point? I don't know.
Yeah, what are those signals that you look for? In other words, when a product you're working on that actually is worth standing on its own, is that?
Yeah, for example, you just have an idea of a product that you want to sell, validate with the market, you have some sales, then you start building an MVP. Is there anything different company-wise that you follow in order to have a product? I don't know.
It's a great question. I think a measure. There's no perfect answer to this. There's no magic wand, I think is the first thing. But I think a good way to think about it and measure it is how would those potential customers or existing ones feel if I didn't build my product, or if let's say you already have a product, if it just went away. How would they feel? Would they care? Or are they begging you? Are they saying, no, make sure you get this built. We need it. I think that's a qualitative way to determine how much the market needs what you're thinking of building.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.